Okay, so um, now we're going to finally give our voice it a voice by adding all um, the outgoing audio components. And it's going to seem like there are a lot of wires here, but it's really because I'm creating the most complete of all the voices with both an internal and an external uh, source of sound. So to do this, we'll need a little speaker that goes inside the base of the VoiceIt, an audio amplifier that pumps up the audio so you can hear it, 4 of these small screws for attaching the speaker to the base, a small female JST connector with 2 wires that is important for getting power to the, actually this gets the audio from the audio amplifier to the speaker, because it helps us join to the wire on the speaker. And the last thing we need is that monstrous wire harness that we created when we attached all these cables with the three-way or 3-wire connectors, plus that one male-to-male jumper cable that we said we would need eventually. So those I'm just going to set aside for a moment, though those are going to find a use pretty quick. And what we're going to do here is we're going to loosely connect everything up so that we don't have too much work to do if it turns out that we need to fix some connector that we didn't properly attach. So the first step will be to attach the actually, I'll move some of this out of the way. To attach the speaker to the speaker stands. So those are right here. There are 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we'll use these little screws to do that. We'll also orient the speaker so that the face of the speaker is down toward the grill here. And the wire comes out toward where you normally would plug in the USB data cable. So we'll set that in place on those 4 stands, and then next we just take the time to insert all 4 screws into the stand. And just screw down until you feel some solid resistance. That's as far as you need to go. If you run out of screws for some reason, I'm sure that 2 screws would probably be sufficient to hold this speaker in place. It's not very heavy. But there are 4 pedestals, and so 4 screws is the right number. Okay. Last one. And I forgot to mention one more thing we're going to need. It's a 3D printed piece to hold the speaker wires down. We'll go ahead and use that. That's this piece right here. This little retainer for the speaker wires. So there are 2 pedestals here, one here and one here, and their job is primarily to manage this long cable coming out of here, or pair of wires coming out of here. So I'm just going to take it and I'm going to maybe do a little figure 8 kind of shape around these posts. Not super critical. You could possibly get away without doing this at all. It just means you have a long cable, a long pair of wires here that you're going to, I'm going to leave it, I guess, with this much available, and take this guy, put him on one end, and snap the other end into place, like that. Next, I'm going to attach wires to this audio amplifier. So the audio amplifier comes with a washer, a nut, and a little black knob that goes on this end. We don't need the knob, we don't need the washer, we don't need the little nut. So those can all get tossed or into your hardware bin or whatever you want to do. I'm going to take these wires right here, and I'm going to attach them with the red wire. There are four posts over here on this side, and they're labeled R plus, R minus, L minus, L plus. The plus stands for power, and the L stands for ground, or the minus stands for ground. We're going to plug these into the L openings in this connector, and we're going to attach the black wire to the L minus opening. I have to change my screwdriver tip. So black goes to L minus. We're not going to use the R's at all. This is fundamentally a monaural sound system internally in the Voiceit. So that just goes to show you, I have to make sure that I've properly captured the wire, and I didn't. So I'll unscrew it again, make sure that I put the wire above the gate and far enough to get the metal of the wire in there, but not the insulation, because I want to make sure I'm making contact with the metal of the wire and not the insulation around it. And then the red one goes into L plus. Make sure we're down. Going above the gate. And let's bring the gate up. Okay. So right there, those are attached. Then I want to connect to these two openings on the opposite side. One is labeled plus DC 5 volts. The other one is minus. Well, just there's a plus side and a minus side. The minus side goes to ground, and the plus side goes to power. And if you remember, we had this extra jumper wire, and let me see if I get that picture up here. So that's this guy right here, and he is going to the power, or the 3V3 slot on the terminal breakout board. So let's go back here, and that is this opening right here. Ground is the one next to it. So I'm just going to put the wire in here. One end of it in here. And the other end I'm going to put into the plus side of the amplifier. Make sure that's captured. All right, then we bring over our big harness we put together early on, and just pull these guys to the side. Remember that the black wire here was going to ground. So this wire goes into the ground on the terminal breakout block or whatever. And this wire goes to the ground, or the minus on this amplifier. So this guy's captured here. And we've handled all the wires for this connector. All the wires to this connector were always taken care of. Now we just have this one hanging out here on this side. And if we look at the picture, that's this guy right here. And he goes into the A0 slot, which is right here on the opposite side of the fourth row. We'll open her up and plug it in. Then we just have two final things to attach. Two or one, let me see. We need to attach the small wires, the pair of wires coming out of the amplifier to the speaker. And you'll see there's a raised edge there, and there's a slot in the female side, and we'll just make sure those two are aligned and put them together. Oh, this is the second one. Remember, we have this 90-degree headphone plug. There's an opening here on the back of the amplifier that plugs into. Push it all the way in. And I'll point out to you that the amplifier volume knob here turns. You can turn it with your fingers. There's an off position that is beyond a little click. So we'll start this by putting it the volume somewhere between that click and full volume, which would be all the way clockwise. I mean, if you want to go all the way clockwise, that'll be fine too. All right, so we've got all the wires connected for all purposes. We haven't connected the any external speaker yet, but we'll do that in a moment. It's almost a little bit like a test here, but the most important thing is I just want to make sure we've got power going through to all the right places and can get sound of any kind to come out. So let's bring in our nice powered data cable and plug it in. Ooh, good. I heard the beep that should normally be for the QR code reader. And that's the internal speaker playing the startup sound. We've been seeing that startup.wave file referenced over and over again. That's the sound associated with everything being started up properly. You'll also see that we have power to the Arduino here, power to the audio amplifier, and of course power to the RFID reader card. And I'm going to test that one more time by just pressing on the blue reset button here on the side or on the top of the Arduino with a finger. Takes about 5 seconds for everything to get recognized and that sound to get played. All right, now I'm going to take the amplifier, I'm going to turn it all the way off until beyond the click. The QR code reader module will respond to that little jump in power, and we'll see during operation of it that anytime you're controlling the audio amplifier, turning it off, turning it on, it's important to do another reset of the Arduino, or the QR code reading module may not function properly. So with that off, with this turned all the way off beyond the click, I'm going to now press the reset button again, and I should not hear anything because there's no power going to the speaker. It's been about 5 seconds. I should have heard that startup sound by now. turn it back on. Again, that's the QR code reader module, making that beep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and it was kind of soft. I can turn up the volume a little bit. All right. Now to turn it off, I'm going to test the external connection, and I just happen to have some speakers nearby. Here's one of them right here, and this is the connector for it. I'm going to here's the plug for it. I'm going to put it into the headphone jack, and we will again test the startup sound with the audio amp, the thing that controls the internal speaker, completely off. Okay, turn it up a little bit here, turn up the volume on this. And you can't hear that, but what I can hear is it coming through both speakers because it is stereo now. All right, so that's the first kind of test we're going to do. The further testing of this setup, we'll do that when we put the entire box, assemble the entire box together, deal with all these wires and mount the audio amplifier and the RFID card, which has a place that it mounts within the enclosure as well. So that's it for giving a voice to the VoiceIt. All right, I changed my mind, and this is a little addendum. I'm going to do the full test without complete assembly, which means I'm going to actually bring in our two test tools here, our RFID card, or RFID tag that's been encoded with the word different, and our QR code that has the word different on it. And the only thing I don't have is I haven't connected the external speaker. So all of this will be driven by the internal speaker, which I'm going to test to make sure I've got volume up on it. So let's plug things in. We'll hear first thing we'll hear is the QR code reader module beep, and then we'll hear our startup sound. Okay, we'll test the RFID one.
Different.
Good. And then we'll test the QR code reader module. Let's see if I can get you on screen here.
Different.
Okay, so everybody's reading properly and files are playing properly. We just need to get all these wires inside the box and all the components mounted that still require mounting.